All right, so we've put the combo play in, slant, flat, in the playbook, talked about the details of how we design that play. And then recently we've talked about how to read that in breakdowns. The keys to seeing the outside backer, that outside defender, and being able to read his technique to know whether we should be throwing the flat or whether we should be throwing the slant. So we're going to take a look at some different looks you may get defensively and how those play into how you would read it as a quarterback. Okay, so it's first one, Big Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, so they're going to run their combo play to this side. Okay, slant on the outside, flat on the inside. So, as always, we want to read the outside linebacker. Outside linebacker in this case is this guy right here. So first thing we want to see is, where does he start? What is his depth on the snap? So his depth is right at the line of scrimmage, making it look like he's going to blitz. So we already know we have an advantage to the slant route because this guy is playing 1 to 2 yards deep. This slant route should be at least 5 yards deep. So this guy is really not in a very good position to take away that slant. If he's going to, he almost has to drop straight back to do that. You know, to get that width and depth where he's deep enough to take away the slant is very difficult from this particular position. So I'm thinking right off the bat, hey, I'm probably going to have the slant unless this guy just hesitates inside or blitzes. Now maybe I have the flat here, but he's not in a great position to take that away, and you see it right here. He has the one drop step. He's already lost leverage on this flat, right? That's what we talk about. We want to be outside. We want to get width and depth with this flat right now because when we do that, this guy's got to turn and run. If he doesn't turn and run, he's beat to the flat. So he's tight. He's got to turn and run. And even though Big Ben, they have a bad center exchange, he's able to pick it up off the ground and still hit that slant back behind it. And you see the big window right there. We just like it a little bit quicker, but of course, you drop a snap, you're not going to get it out quicker. But nice read, right? There's no interference at the top of this slant, no interference with this backer because he started at a shallow spot, never got to that 5-yard depth. We got 5 yards on our slant. Nice little play here by the Steelers. Okay, now we'll flip it to the other side and let's take a look at the Ravens. Okay, so they're going to run their slant and flat to this side. Okay, so outside defender right here. First thing we notice, he's already 5 yards deep. So we talked about that. If a guy's 5 yards deep, right, he's going to have trouble covering the flat. Because even if the flat is just a little bit outside of him, if he's 5 yards away and we complete this and throw a good ball, you turn it up, you're picking up 4 or 5 yards before this guy can even make a tackle. So we want to read the width and depth of this defender. So if he goes straight sideways, we've got leverage, throw the flat. If he comes and gets width and depth, meaning the depth is closing down the space between the flat. So he's no longer sitting at 5 yards. Now he starts at 5, and as he's getting width, he starts to shrink that to 2, 3 yards. Now it opens up our slant behind it. He goes vertical, or he has to go behind the slant. Now we know we're going to take the flat every time. So there you see it. His first 2 moves. He's going lateral, right? So a lot of times when he goes lateral, it tells us, hey, he's chasing that flat. We're going to hit the slant behind it. But his first step is actually back. So not only is he at 5, he's at 6 yards now. So you see all this space right here. Even though he's running out there, he cannot cover the flat. It's the easy throw. Take it right now. And the other part we always talk about, right, is this. Watch the top of the slant. Slant's coming here, and now he has to hesitate. He's trying to figure out where I go with this slant so I don't run into that defender. And I've seen it happen a million times. Is quarterbacks see this guy go sideways, and they think slant right now. They go to throw the slant runs right into that linebacker. We get an incompletion, or we get an interception because we didn't read the width and the depth of that guy. He gets width, he gets depth, as opposed to closing down the window. Good job by Lamar Jackson. Take your flat right here. As we said, he turns up. I mean, look at this. We're throwing a 1-yard route, and we're picking up 10 yards on that play because we make the right read. Another one here, okay? So here's our guy. We're going to run our slant and our flat back to this side. So there's our backer. Right there, we've got what we want. Right, we've got 2-on-2 over there. He's starting at 5 yards. Okay, he's about 5 yards from the back right here. So we want to see what he does on the snap. On the snap, boom, you see it. He comes down. He sees the flat. He understands he's got the back. he's going to try to condense this space so we don't give him an easy flat over to that side. So he's going to condense that space. Started at 5, and now he's shrinking that distance to 2 or 3 to close that distance on the flat. That lets us know, boom, he's getting width. He's creating the depth up the field. So now we've got our slant back behind it, right? Not a real good throw. The route happens a little fast, you notice, right? Jimmy Graham right here. He pushes just a couple steps. He's running this at about 2 or 3 yards. You run it at 2 or 3 yards, right? It makes the quarterback late as he's trying to get the read because you're already coming out of this slant. He's not ready to throw it until this guy crosses. That's why depth is so important. 5 yards and then hold it off so we're ready to hit you right behind the ear of that defender. Plus, it does not allow the defender to be able to close on you. If I'm throwing it when you're breaking, defender doesn't have a chance to close. Here he's got a chance to close the safety. Once again, all right, we could talk about the corner closing, but because we're waiting, now the safety has a chance to close as opposed to ball being in his hands right here and him being able to make a move on the safety. We throw this late. Now the safety comes up. The ball's behind. Everything's off on this play. Should have been an easy, big play. Huge window there. Good read by Nick Foles. But timing is all off because the details aren't good. Okay, now we're going to run one more. All right, one more. It's going to be back to this side once again. Okay, with our flat coming out this side. Here's our defender now. Okay, just like we saw on the first play. The defender wants to walk up, wants to fake blitz, so he's at the line of scrimmage. Right now, it's telling me, okay, still have to read him. I can't assume he's just going to run to the flat. Okay, flat down the line of scrimmage and cover the flat. I have to assume that he might fall back, but I know by his initial alignment, I'm probably going to have the slant behind it as long as I verify what he does. Okay? In this particular case, doesn't do what I expect. Okay? Doesn't do what I expect because they're actually rolling to a cover 2 look. Okay? And again, Nick goes to the other side. He actually goes to the right side. We don't really want to read this against cover 2. I'm just kind of showing you how it could play out. So he's here. Now he drops with depth. Doesn't get his width here. Okay? So if we were reading this and we had 2-on-2 over here, this throw would go to the flat every time because that defender drops deep. And again, it looks like they're playing some sort of 2-man here. So you could still read it back to that side because it is 2-man. Okay? And so you see, as we come off on the slant, this defender is in the way. Even though he beats his guy, that guy's in the way because his first move was not down the line of scrimmage as I expected. His first move was back for some reason, even though this guy's getting width. But it's why we always have to verify what they're doing. Verify it. First 2 steps are back. Boom. Flat's there right now. We take this. You see the 3rd down distance right here. I can promise you, you put a good ball on this back right here, and he turns up with this guy going over the top, that is an easy 1st down on 3rd and 7, 8, 9 because you read it right. That guy tried to go behind the slant. You get the ball in your playmaker's hands right now. Let him make some moves for you. All right, so there you have it. Bunch of different looks. Same quick combinations. A great combination if you get that 2-on-2 look over there, but you've got to be able to see, A, where that defender starts. Okay, so that gives us a pre-snap. Hey, I think I'm going to have this based on him starting at the line of scrimmage or him starting at 5 yards deep. But that's not enough. We can't just decide based on the pre-snap. Still got to get our eyes on him after the snap comes, and now we see. Does he cover just width? Does he get depth? Does he cover the width and depth that he needs to take away a particular route? And we see all different kind of scenarios there where different guys become the main guy based on what that inside linebacker does on that particular side. Okay, so that becomes the key. Understand the difference. Be able to see his first step. Does his first step close the cushion? Does his first step create more cushion? Those things are key to understand whether I'm going to have a great opportunity for that slant or if I'm going to have to settle for the flat. And I say settle. We saw right there. I will settle for a flat every time that's going to get me 7, 8, 9 yards. So it's a good ball. It's a good read. And that simple play can become a big play for your offense.